as the wide receiver group is right now, then, do you think we really need to go and get a true number one wide receiver, or can we just go and bring in, like I said, a couple of more wide receiver 2 or B level caliber players to make just the group be really good versus having that one dog out there? Like, how do you
That's
feel
how I
about
feel.
that
Yeah.
thought? Yeah, you want that one dog out there, or you want the group
No,
to just be really good?
no, because our guys are still young.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what Claypool does.
Yeah.
Diontae, clean up the drops because Diontae's on a nice pace right now. He
Okay.
really is. But he's
Okay.
just got to clean up the drops. The one piece we're missing, I think, is the burner, the guy that could take
Yeah.
off the top off the defense. That's really it. Because
Mm-hmm.
we got to see what Claypool does. If Claypool doesn't step up, then yeah, I think maybe we could be having this conversation next offseason.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Now, before we get into these supers, I gotta ask, because this is typically when they start talking about trades and stuff, right? Oh, you trade when a guy's stock is very high. You trade before
Well,
you sign
wait, how
to
do
the
you
long
feel?
deal,
How do you
right?
feel about the receivers we got?
To me, man, I think they're good. I don't think any of them are great. I don't think we have a bona fide stud. I think Diontae has the potential, but he's just not there right now. And Chase is still been rocky, but he's young, and that's a part of young players. They are inconsistent at times. You hear me say it every single time we talk about young guys. There is no guarantee they're going to come in and be consistent from day one and play to their full potential year in and year out early on in their career. It's hard to do at this level. But I'm almost leaning more so towards bringing in multiple guys that are just good players, not great players. So that way, whoever's our quarterback, you don't create this habit of, man, they're going to force the ball to this guy every single time. Because
Good point. The OBJ stuff with the Browns.
With the Browns, or I think about how at times Kirk Cousins, he can get enamored with a certain receiver, and it's like, man, you force the ball, and you're not reading the field. And if a guy already has limitations, don't pigeonhole him and make him do this even more, because I just think that hurts them more than it helps them. Whereas if we have multiple just really good players, guys that can get open, guys that aren't all world but are still good players, I think, man, if you're the quarterback, you feel more comfortable knowing that, hey, any of my guys can win. Any of my guys can have a nice matchup versus this is the only guy that I can go to. Let me feed him. Even if it's triple coverage, it doesn't matter. I'm going to force it over there. And, okay, it works on this time, but now it's a pick. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of stuff that I really don't want us to get into with these younger quarterbacks or whoever we have at quarterback, just based on the names that have been, related to us right now. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Bring in a guy or two that's a different prototype than the two receivers we already have. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a speedy / physical slot guy who could take some shots over the middle, or a burner that could take the top off the defense. Those are my two. Or just Juju. I think those are the three options.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can get with that, man. I think we're on the same page then. So, let's get to these supers.
What were you saying? It sounded like you were about to talk about a trade or something.
Oh, no. I was just saying in the sense of, because Diontae, right? We always, we brought up, would you trade Chase Claypool? And people are like, well, his market is down right now. You're supposed to trade when he has the most value. Okay, well, if Chase market is down, that means Diontae's market is very high. This is the highest his value has been, right? He hasn't signed that long-term deal yet. So if you're trying to move him contract-wise, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more appealing, not just to you, but to the organization that you'll be trading him to, knowing that, hey, they're going to get a chance to negotiate whatever deal they want, but they don't have to carry on any baggage, any, contract that they feel like, hey, man, we wouldn't have signed that deal. We don't have to take any of this on. So when we say that about Chase, and that's always the response, well, man, his market is low right now. You want to sell when he's high. Diontae is high right now. Diontae has a nice market right now, but there's still question marks with him. That's why we haven't broke the bank just yet for him. That's why we are hesitant to pay him $15 million a year. So does that mean you potentially move him, or do you consider moving him? Because you should be able to get some high quality draft picks back for a player like Diontae.
Yeah, would this be just like the Stephon Diggs trade with the Bills?
Exactly, that's
trade
what I'm saying.
Diontae for a first rounder, like how they trade Diggs for a first rounder. That'd be
because you think about this. Think about what Diggs. Diggs at that time, he didn't have. I think he didn't have a Pro Bowl if I remember correctly. He was still really good, and we knew
he only had a 1,000 yard year. I think.
Yeah, that was it. Absolutely.
Low, and it was low.
You knew
like
he was
1,100
good,
maybe.
right? You knew he was good, but you didn't know how good. You didn't know if he could develop into who he became. But when they traded him, what did they get back? They got a one for him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, man, is Diontae potentially in that category? I don't know necessarily. But if he wants 15 and the team doesn't want to pay him that, Is that where you say go ahead and move him now? Because we don't know what he's going to be like in contract negotiations. Is he disgruntled if he has to play on the final year of his deal? We don't know that because we've never seen him in that. Yeah, we've never seen him play under these contract situations before. So this is all going to be new, but we know what he's asking for. And we know that we don't want to pay that. So that's why I just asked myself, like, is that something that we should be considering?
I guess it's something to think about. And, yeah, you would do it before the draft because you don't want to be getting that first-round pick when you're in training camp because what's that going to do good for you for this season at least?
Yeah.
Something to consider. If you're just asking me right now, would I rather have a first-round pick or Diontae Johnson? I'd rather have Diontae Johnson. But what's interesting about that Bills trade is I would have said the same thing with Stephon Diggs. It's just like, bro, I'd actually probably rather just have Diggs. I know he's pretty good. Who are you going to get in the first round? Receivers in the first round or any of those early rounds can be hit and miss.
Until they put him with
then they draft Jefferson. And it's like, actually, I think, both sides won on that. Both sides really won.
Because I could easily see
Jefferson, does he do that with the Bills year one? Maybe he does because his rookie season was amazing. But
Jefferson nice, bro. I ain't going to lie. Jefferson nice. He like that, bro. He's like that.
But I felt like Deke just fit with the Bills perfectly, though, right?
Yeah. But at the time, nobody knew he was going to fit with the Bills. At the time, remember, it was still questions about, man, how far is Josh going to continue to grow and develop? And it just so happened that when Diggs got there, they just clicked, and Diggs actually stepped up his play. And both of those guys just really showed that they were a match made in heaven, man. It was like that perfect situation right there. But that's the part for me where I'm just like, man, what's to say that, you look at these receivers in this draft, like, if you're trading Diontae, you're going to get multiple picks back early in this draft. So now you might have 2 first rounds. You might have 2 first-round picks. So what stops you from getting whatever guy we wanted to get, whether it's a Malik or an offensive lineman, and then still turning around and getting a Garrett Wilson or getting a Chris Olave or taking a flyer on a Jamison Williams? Like, you can do those type of things then. Say you have an extra first and an extra second. Say you trade them for a first and second round pick.
Oh, there's no way that happens. You think?
I don't know, but depending on what team you're talking to, because you have to remember he doesn't have a contract that is going to hurt you. So if you're trading him, you're saying, man, I want to get the most I can get out of it. And if you're looking for a wide receiver hungry team, a team that is looking, they say, hey, man, I think he's a guy. I think that, we fit him with our quarterback. This situation makes sense. Well, maybe you get 2 of those picks out of it. That's all I'm saying. Stranger things have happened. Let's not act like that's not the case. Some of these deals that get done, you're like, bro, that guy went for what? So I look at this the same way. Like, man, that could easily be a case right here.